So guys, this Igbo man is dragging Wike over the destruction of his properties. So guys, I want you to just take a look at this.
Have perceived it to be an attack that the FCT minister, Wike, Wike has gone ahead to destroy a house, property belonging to one Chief Nicholas Ukachukwu. And there's so many sides to this story. Now, Chief Nicholas Ukachukwu said that he had followed all the due processes and that he had rightfully acquired the land, and that the FCT minister came and said that why should such a property be given to an Igbo man? Now, that is his own account of the story. But the FCT minister, Wike, is saying that that land was fraudulently acquired, perhaps in collision with people from the ministry who have decided that they'll be giving out property fraudulently. He has also said that he meant no ill will on the Igbos. But, there are so many contradictory sides to this.
So guys, the aspect to this story that is causing more wahala is the aspect where this man said, Wike said, how can such a property be given to an Igbo man? That is even what is causing more problem. Take a look at this.
The documents. After he see what we have with our lawyer and the other people's other sunrise, which they get part of that land. And Wike said there is nothing on this, that the court should take effect after going around the land. His normal ways of behavior. He started shouting, how would they take all this land and give to Igbo man?
I was at a meeting a few days back last week. And they said, the Igbos, we must find a way of checkmating them. I sat there in the midst of them. And the man said, you are not even saying anything. I said, what is the offense? He said, they are bought everywhere in Lagos. They are buying and buying. And I said, when they came with gun and shot your people, or your people collected money for the purchase. Baba looked at me and said, why are you like this? As I'm like that, did your people sell to them? Or they brought gun and said, your land or your life? Why don't you learn their industry? Who asked you to sell your land? That was the end of the meeting. If you are going to invite me into a meeting where we are going to move the nation forward, don't pitch one tribe or ethnic nation against the other. It's not going to work for those of us who believe that the best of the north and the best of the south must come together to steer the ship of our nation.
Allow you watch. Do you
understand
this video?
Me?
Just take your time and listen to what this man said. He has narrated his own story. I just hope that the FCT minister will equally come out to narrate his own story, because as it stands now, this man is saying he followed due process, but his land was just demolished without any notice. That is even the key part of all this. When at this time, we all know what businesses are going through in Nigeria. I mean, the times are hard in Nigeria. I don't think this is a time you just wake up and begin to demolish hard-earned properties of people. You should do things legally. I don't know why all these things are happening, but just take a look at the story.
A developer of a multi-billion naira property near Asokoro has called on President Bola Tinubu's intervention following its demolition by the FCT administration. The property, which sits on a 214-hectare plot, was said to have been pulled down without any order of revocation issued by the authorities of the FCT. It marks the first major demolition by the Wike administration.
On Wednesday morning, scores of armed security operatives, including soldiers, policemen, and civil defense, surround the 214-hectare property near Sokoro, where multiple luxury duplexes are being developed. After about 6 hours, the buildings, some of which had got to lintel level, and the fence are all pulled down and left in a heap of rubble. The property is owned by one of the foremost private developers in Abuja, Praco Nigeria Limited, led by Linus and Nicholas Ukachukwu. Ukachukwu claims the demolition was done in bad faith.
We can call for a meeting over the land. We went with our documents. After he see what we have with our lawyer and the other people's other sunrise, which they get part of that land. And Wike said there is nothing on this, that the court should take effect after going around the land. His normal ways of behavior. He started shouting, how would they take all this land and give to Igbo man?
According to him, all the legal titles to the property had been obtained, including 2 ministerial approvals, the latest from the erstwhile FCT Minister Bello Muhammad.
He went through all due process, including ministerial approval. We have full final title, certificate, and offer.
A certificate of occupancy?
Yes, offer to certificate of occupancy.
Most alarming, according to him, is that there was no order revoking his rights to the property before the demolition took place.
As I'm talking to you now, we are not receiving any documents. All these things, we only what we saw, the demolition. The title has not been revoked, we are not been served.
Ukachukwu also insists the action of the Minister of the FCT runs contrary to 2 pending court orders restraining any action by the FCT on the plot of land.
2 separate courts issued different court order restraining him from tampering or doing anything in those property. But all of a sudden today, we can now move all the caterpillars in Abuja and went and started pulling those properties that we have invested billions into down.
He wants President Tinubu to wade into the matter to protect the rights of genuine investors and businessmen.
Calling Mr. President, who I know that has nothing to do with the tribe, to call on the bring either he remove this man.
Demolish a property of that magnitude, because it comes with a whole lot of ill feelings. There are utterances alleged that the FCT minister made concerning why an Igbo man should have this huge property. So now, when such utterances comes out, okay, it's an emotional one. It belittles every other thing that the FCT minister is trying to do or have actually done or may try to do to control the damage that had already been done. So that's just really what I am trying to say. That very utterance belittles every action, everything that he's trying to do, because Abuja is federal capital territory, and whether you are Igbo or whether you are Hausa or whether you're Yoruba, we all have the right to own property in FCT. Now, there's an angle that really doesn't make sense at all. Okay, the property has been demolished, and the government is alleging that some officers of the land
FCT Federal Capital Territory
in the land grabbing. I wonder why they are still employed and they are receiving salary, but the property has been demolished.
The question now,
doesn't balance. There's no balance.
How do you now find out what staff member at FCT actually granted that permission? If so,
look, this report is lopsided. Okay, the government is not taking the right step, and I am criticizing this whole thing because Nigeria is struggling with this kind of economic issue, and I don't think the government should go all out with this action of demolition. Okay, there should be mediation. There are things that ought to have happened, and this man is alleging that he has all the rightful documents. Yep. So why would some governmental officers aid in land grabbing as alleged by the FCT minister, and those officers are faceless? They don't have name, nobody knows them, no one has actually come out to tell us this person and this person and this person working with the Ministry of Land FCT help this person and this person to probably get an approval without the consent of the minister or without the consent of the government. No one has actually mentioned a name of a suspect who aided in this land grabbing, and the government had gone straight to demolish the property, irregardless of all the court orders stopping them from doing that, irregardless of all the documents that the owner presented to show that he actually, on his own part, followed due process.
All right, now speaking about due process, first off, we'd like to look at the due process when it comes to acquiring land. But Chief Ukachukwu said that there was no order revoking his rights to the property before the demolition took place. There was no order revoking his rights to the property before it took place. So does it mean that the FCT minister on his own end also did not follow due process?
Yes, we've described this as an extrajudicial demolition. It's purely an extrajudicial demolition because the owner is coming from the right side of the law. I have all the documents, I duly applied, and this land was allocated to me. I have documents. But the government is alleging that as at that time, there was no sitting minister. And my question is, what has the sitting minister got to do with allocation of land? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. If there was a head of that parastatal who duly consented to that allocation, then the allocation is legitimate. It's purely legitimate. This is an issue of law. They should have gone straight and to Federal High Court, Abuja, and trashed this issue. And if there were pending existing court orders, what are the content of these court orders? Did we look at the content of these court orders before we start demolition? This is an extrajudicial demolition. I think the government ought to have, thought wise before they move into this demolition, because there's a whole lot of issue into it. I am looking at it purely from a legal point of view. If I am coming from the right point of the law, that I have all the necessary documents and I approach the rightful officers and this allocation was done rightfully, I think I have a good case, and that case ought to have been looked into properly to the last alphabet.
But actually, what we're missing here is the FCT minister is saying that that property was not legally acquired. He's saying that there's complicity at the FCTA, that perhaps some officials have gone ahead to collaborate or go into some kind of arrangement with some of these people to acquire property. That is what Wike is saying.
Wike's allegation does not hold waters. Wike's allegation is a kind of a media statement to save face, because it does not hold waters. Okay? And let me tell you why it does not hold waters. You first of all move straight to go and demolish. You did not bring to book those who aided and abetted the land grabbers, because that's your allegation.
So how do you fish them out? That's the question, because it's all seen as FCTA. How do you pinpoint who did what?
Okay, now, see. Okay, you have already concluded that the documentation and everything is not proper, that someone aided and abetted the land grabbers. But if you are sure of what you're talking about, you should have those who aided and abetted. You should know their name. You should know the officers, where they come from. Now, you ought to have gotten this probably from the man who is in possession of the land. Oga, how did you apply? Who assisted you? What happened?
So, guys, you have seen it for yourself. Honestly, we don't need all this at such a time. Wike should do things. He's a lawyer, so he should do things in a legal way. We are not against him following the master plan of Abuja and all that, but I think at least things should be done in order so that every party will feel, satisfied. Even this man, if he finds out that he didn't follow the rule, he shouldn't come out to complain. But if he had followed the rules and his property is being destroyed, I think Wike will have to pay for it. Like he has vowed to drag Wike to the end, that he must recover his money. So, guys, I don't know what you make of all this. Drop your thoughts in the comment section below. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on your notification bell. Thank you.